Good morning, Desert Sands Unified School District. This is Sean Webb, your Director of Community Engagement, with our third episode of Classroom Conversations. This is a joint effort, a nice little segue of us meeting with community members, highlighting our Desert Sands staff and students, and talking about everything great Desert Sands. The Classroom Conversations, our motto is we're engaging the Desert Sands Unified School District community. And we want to thank the Desert Sands Educational Foundation for providing this format for us. As many of you know, not only am I the Director of Community Engagement, but I'm also the Director of the Desert Sands Educational Foundation. And with that, our mission statement is the Desert Sands Educational Foundation secures funding and rewards money to provide supplemental resources that enrich and enhance student learning in Desert Sands Unified School District. And we work with our community partners to make sure that happens. And today we've got a fun-filled show. We got some video, we got some guests, and I'm going to bring on Chef Mary here to talk about everything that's going on. And without anything from me, let's go ahead and bring on Chef Mary. Good morning, Chef Mary. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing well, Mr. Webb. And how are things in your world?
Things in my world are well. I can't complain. Tara and I are actually going to come up to your neck of the woods this weekend. We're going to take some time to kind of relax and, be able to walk outside a little bit while we're up in the desert. So we're excited about that.
Well, you're going to come up to some beautiful weather. It was 62 degrees when I woke up this morning at like 7 o'clock. And
Okay.
the sun is up and the skies are blue. And, I live in a quiet part of the town, so we don't have a lot of activity over here. But definitely looking forward to saying hello and maybe sharing some snacks or something when you guys are here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something. We'll do it on the driveway or something. We'll hook up and meet up. That would be great. I know that you'll want to see some of the people as well. But I just want to let you know we got some things coming up with the district, and I want to highlight our Twitter feed. So you may not be able to see this because it might be a little bit small on your screen, but I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of where they can get information in Desert Sands. And you can follow us at desertsands.usd. There it is on the left side of the screen there. But remember we had Dan on last week and he talked about the changes in the meal distributions?
Mary? Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I got you. You're reading it. So Dan shared about that information, things changing with meal distributions, and we just sent that out yesterday. So I actually was at Shadow Hills High School yesterday and I talked to was it Tiffany Bowman's parents, who's one of our lead. Yeah, she's one of our lead cafeteria managers, and she told me that she told me exactly what this tweet's all about. We're gonna have meals as they are right now, Monday and Wednesday, where they get their 7 meals and so forth, their breakfast and lunch, through the 5th. So through the end of the next week and so forth. But then we're taking a little bit of a break because we have to prepare for the first day of school, which is the 19th. And even though we are distant learning and so forth, students can still pick up their meals and they're going to pick them up daily. And it's going to be a very similar rotation. So they kind of, they're taking that time to transition from the 5th to the 19th. That's really needed. Yeah. So as you heard from Dan, he served like 1.2 million meals in this time. So you can see how they need to transition and take that time to change over.
Exactly. It took me like 4 or 5 hours to do 11 meals. So
I bet. And then other great news that's going on. We've got some great community partners, and you know our friends over at KESQ, our friend Sean, and so forth. They just did an amazing article, not just on our district, but on all 3 districts about the independent studies and the homeschool options that were already in place before the pandemic. So they did a fantastic article, and we just retweeted that. So I want to make sure to share that with our people that are watching. And then I don't think you've ever met Derek Lawson, the person there. Congratulations to him. He was honored for the Distinguished Service Award by the the NASSP. Mary, say this after me: National Association of Secondary School Principals. Okay, so that's a mouthful there, but literally that's an organization of national secondary principals. So that's middle school and high school around the country. And there's, I want to say well over 30,000 members of that. I'm a member of it too when I worked at the school sites and so forth. But for those that don't know, Derek Lawson was my mentor, my first principal that I worked for as an assistant principal at Page Middle School. And this is just awesome to see that he got the Distinguished Service Award.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's been a long-standing principal in Desert Sands, and he's been on with me to talk about different things. And maybe, I think it's about time, Chef Mary, that once school starts and so forth, and things get in the swing of things, we'll have to have Derek on so you get to meet him. I
Yeah,
think that'd be
I
real.
think he came to some of our showdowns. His face is really, really familiar. Either he was in the kitchen or somehow or another he's been at our school.
Yeah, so
During,
Derek, when I first came over to La Quinta, Mr. Lawson was still at Page Middle School, so that's one of our feeder schools. So that would have been a reason why for him to come by. But now he's the principal at Indio High School, and I just think that's fantastic. That this right here is just he could be getting these types of awards every year. This is just fantastic that he's finally getting recognized for it. Most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's always important to recognize all the hard work and the dedication, to be in the educational system.
Of course. Yeah.
It goes far beyond just walking in and teaching students and, getting all your work together and your plan and working with all of your other teachers and counselors. It's a lot more than just opening a book.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And especially nowadays, right? Definitely nowadays. So with everything going on, with everything going on with the world right now, there's a very important thing, and a very important partner of ours is Census 2020. And I've had the privilege of working with this individual throughout the whole school year, as I've been the point person for Census 2020 for Desert Sands with Dustin. And I'm going to bring him on screen here as he's going to have some information to share about Census 2020. And then he also has his counterpart with him, Alejandra, who's going to talk us through some things. But because I know you have some questions, I have some questions, so let's bring them on to talk to them a little bit more. Because like I said, they're a partner, Desert Sands. We need to work with them to make sure that we get an accurate number by everybody. Good morning, Dustin. How you doing?
Good morning, Sean. Thank you for having me on. And Chef Mary, I'm already hungry. I just had breakfast, but I saw that beautiful.
Oh yes.
I think if we did the census with food, it would be much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think if your people took brownies or cookies around with them, knocked on the doors, little goodie bags.
Take a page from the Girl Scouts.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. You know what? Before we go any further, I want to mention that I see there's an Amy Crichton that's watching. She has a question, and Amy, I'll be the first to say I do not have the specific answer to that question yet. So she's asking about the ideas or solutions for kids of essential workers and healthcare workers that are children in school. I know that they are talking about that, and as soon as we get that information, I'll get that out to you. So one of the things that we do, Dustin, is we engage the community here, and we encourage them to come on, ask questions, and you know what? If I don't know the immediate answer, I try to go find the answer for them. So Amy, I will definitely do my best to get that back to you by next week when we have our next episode on Tuesday. Okay.
And if Amy wanted to, she could actually go online to Census 2020 or 2020 census.gov or census.gov and look at our COVID-19 hub. And there's plenty of data in it and very good high quality information that community members can use. And we put that out as a service. We've always done that with many of our projects. Like if you go back and you think about the fires in Pleasanton or hurricane response, the census does collect data to help emergency workers and the community navigate their resources and how to just, get better faster with good quality data.
Oh, definitely. The data is definitely a big thing. And I use little data when I just do my morning hikes. I like to see that the numbers are working for me and so forth. And it's the same thing. But Amy, I said next Tuesday when we go back on, it's actually, we're going to be on Thursday. If I can get the information to you by then, fantastic. And then for anybody who's watching and following, I just put up my email address there. As you can see, my title is Director of Community Engagement. If you have a question about what's going on with everything right now, if I don't know the answer, like I said, I'm going to find you the answer or help direct you to the right person. But Dustin, let's talk a little bit more about Census 2020. And I actually want to bring your counterpart on too, Alejandra. I know that she's having some issues with her camera, but we could definitely hear her. But I just want to, this can go out to both you guys, and whoever wants to answer can answer it. But, census, what is it? If you could just provide a definition for our viewers, up until I was an adult, I really didn't know what it was. So if you could just give us a clear-cut definition, what is census?
Alejandra, would you like to take the Census 101? And we'll just...
Yeah, of course. So Good morning. The census is really about counting everyone in the United States. The count counts every person living in the U.S. once, only once, and in the right place.
Yeah, the audio.
Is the echo gone? Okay, so
Yeah, I noticed there's a little bit of an echo. Maybe
representation. Every 10 years, the results of the census are used to reapportion the House of Representatives, which determines how many seats every state gets. And since this count is only conducted every 10 years, we cannot adjust the numbers or adjust populations or adjust the number of seats until the following census. So with fair representation, we get fair resources, fair sources, fair government all the way around. The census is about $675 billion that are redistributed back down to state, local, and city governments. This goes in the form of grants, in the form of public services, public resources, public education, things like that. So yeah, the census is about taking part in your civic duty. If you complete the census, you can make sure that you're playing your part in getting counted and bringing representation to your community and making sure that your community is being represented equally in the cities, governments, and the state, just all the way around.
Alejandro, I want to mention you came in very, very like crackled there. Does it sound any better for you guys on your end?
It was very difficult to hear. I heard.
Yeah, it was really crackled, John.
Okay, so Dustin, maybe if you can give us a quick synopsis, since we can actually hear you a little bit better and so forth. And what I'll do is I'm not sure if it's my microphone or Mary's, but I'll turn mine off right now if you want to give us a quick synopsis. For our viewers, I'm sorry about this.
Well, the census comes around every 10 years, and it's an opportunity just to make sure that we have a good plan in place for the next 10 years for the neighborhoods, our cities, our counties, our states, and just how to best use the resources for those communities to thrive. Everything from representation, so district lines are for voting, are reapportioned, and then more importantly, which affects everyone, is the bottom dollar. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars each year spent. And if there's an undercount in a community, you're making life more difficult with less resources. It would be better for our schools to operate with as much resources as they could get. The emergency services, so much the roads that we use or conduct commerce, people going to the beauty shop, if it's a safe and paved road without potholes, it is directly tied to the census, as well as nutritional value, like we had on last week's program. So much of the census funds for local communities go towards food programs. So, and it's just a wonderful way that people can, this year, if they want a greater voice, they want to help their neighbor, is to participate and complete their census. And after they've done that, make sure your neighbor or your family and friends help them with that, because it's quick, it's easy, and it's safe to do.
I'll agree with that completely. It's very quick and easy and safe to do. I did mine in a matter of minutes. Mary, maybe if you could share a little bit about what was going on in Big Bear in your neck of the woods with the census. You shared a little bit about that last week.
Yeah, it was interesting, Dustin. Actually, I'll go back a little bit further. My granddaughter goes to school in Vista, and we were waiting for the kids to come out of school, and this gentleman came around with applications to be employed by the census, and talked about his years of experience doing it, and the income and how much he enjoyed it, and the ease of being able to be a person that would distribute the information. And that was the first time I came across it. And then he said, well, you can go online. And so when I got back to Big Bear, I went online and filled out the form, which was really, really easy. And then about 2 days later, here comes a lady, and we live in a pretty, isolated area. She's walking up and down the street with her little packets, and she knocked on the door, and I said, well, I've already done mine. And she says, well, I still need to give you one for your door. And so I see them, around on different, little fence posts, because a lot of our homes are vacation rentals or second homes, or, people aren't up here all the time. And then I saw her again. She came around in the second round. So the dedication of the people that the census hires is pretty incredible, that they still, go around, and she wasn't going to shortcut anything, and was talking to people about what she did. So that was pretty encouraging, that there's a great deal of dedication to the efforts of the census.
No, maybe Dustin or Alejandra, if you could tell us, how does it directly relate, to what's going on in our environment right now with the census right now? If we just say in 2010 we had maybe we had a 90% accurate census, how would that affected us differently in regards to COVID right now? Maybe if you can expand upon that a little bit.
So if I understand the question, how an undercount of 10% would impact us immediately? Is that correct? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's correct. I wanted to keep my mic off. I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct.
Well, the census with an undercount like that would really put a strain on where, like back in 2010, there was an undercount in Riverside County against compared to the state average. And so Riverside County actually received less representation and less funds. So you would be able to maybe have a couple more clinics available today, responded more responsibly each individual. The census is mandated in our Constitution. It's not really an option. And the reason why it's there is our forefathers and fathers wanted to manage the country and take care of the needs as they change. And that's been a consistent since 1790, with people trying to best use our resources and funds so that our nation can thrive and grow, and our communities can be as strong as they can possibly be. Right now, the census with the COVID-19 database is collecting information to help responders. Actually, the information goes to, I have a note here, the National Institute of Health, and they use ongoing surveys along with the census data that's collected in the past, the American Survey. So the Census Bureau is always at work to fine tune the information so that we can be as responsive for our citizens, for our communities, for everyone who lives in the United States. And that information is is tracking where hotspots are coming up. And much of that information is being distributed it's free information to be used, the COVID-19 data on how best to track the virus, how they look at the virus as it eases in population so that they can redistribute resources from one area to another. And with everybody working together with this data, they're able, the police, the emergency first responder services, are able to better manage the situation for all of us. I think we in Riverside County was one of the first to actually have the National Guard mobile hospital unit.
No, I know you're talking about the mobile hospital that came over and took over the fairgrounds. I know that we were one of the first in the country to have that done.
So
And I know that so would that be direct response to the census because of that and so forth?
It would be direct response from data collected by the Census Bureau, yes.
And I'm guessing obviously that data primarily dealt with probably like the age group of the the people and the majority of the people in the Coachella Valley, and they're worried about with the COVID relationship, with the age groups and so forth. Maybe I'm going way too into this.
No. Actually, the data, the U.S. Census collects everyone agrees that we have the highest quality data out there. And all this micro data that responds to demographics is very important. And it helps us respond in emergencies. For example, if I use the Pleasanton fire, you have insurance companies having a better idea of the home ownership and the insurance response that would be coming from private and what the federal aid might be necessary to help those residents in that community. COVID-19 is very unusual for the census, and it's a COVID-19 collection hub. It's because most of the time we could focus on a small region, but this has been a national response. It's been unlike anything the census has seen on a national scale for an emergency response. So everybody is learning how to deal with living under COVID and doing the best they can to help others during this time. Very important.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that, for you taking the time to answer that. Is there any additional thoughts and so forth that you'd like to share with our viewers? I'll tell you, we've had a number of viewers watching live, and I know that this will translate into people watching later on as we're on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter right now. Be reviewed. Is there anything else that, a message from Census 2020, either from yourself or Alejandra, that you'd like to share with us?
Alejandra?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing to remember is that the census is confidential. None of this information is sent off to any law enforcement agency, any landlords, anyone. This information is 100% guarded by the Census Bureau, and the information cannot be used against you in any way. It's very important to know that this private information that is very sensitive isn't being seen by anyone or used against anyone in any way or form.
That's great information to share. I had no clue that I didn't know it was that private and so forth, but that is great information to share. So thank you very much, both of you, for sharing that. And I do have a video that I'm going to share at the end here, the episode afterwards. But Mary and I are going to catch up some more and talk about everything that's going on Great Desert Sands. But please know that I posted all the links that you gave me, Alejandra. Thank you for that. And like I said, I'll play the video at the end here that gives the tips on how to fill out the census and how easy it is. But go ahead, Dustin.
And one more thing I'd like to mention, since so many of the parents and we have such a large community that is focused on the education, I always like to make a point about the statistics in the classroom, our SIS program. It's a great supplemental material for anyone from kindergartners with wonderful songs all the way up to having the K-12 kids, the high school students or middle school students comparing to statistics and taking doing some comparative analysis, and they're just beautiful lessons, easy for teachers, easy for students to follow along, get some good information. And that's something that's going to be available for homes, for districts, even after the census. So I would, there's so many tools and resources. Always reach out to a census rep or to Sean here, who we have a great relationship, and we keep him informed with all the wonderful things that are available for everybody to help make their lives more enjoyable and just help us shape everyone's future. So thank you for having us on, the both of you. And I think I might drive up to Big Bear and have a snack at Mary Chef's.
Oh, you have to do that. Dustin, another thing I think that we found with the census, we were doing a lot of, actually when I retired from the school, one of the other teachers is an ancestry research person. And, all the old census documents that go back to whenever you started, when they went door to door and hand wrote it. And when we started doing our own research, my grandmother, who lived in New Orleans, said she only had a couple of brothers and sisters. Well, we found out there was a lot more brothers and sisters because the census taker was at the house and there was like 9 people. And at that time, if you had a family member that lived there, all of a sudden the family went from a mom and a dad, and then it would tell if it was a niece or a nephew or an aunt or an uncle and when they were born. And if they had a nickname, one year they'd be the nickname and the next year they'd be like a real name. And so we had a lot of fun researching, and that just that information from the Bureau really pulled us all together as to where everybody went, and we would find that one person, another person. And so there's another value that that we really had fun with the Census Bureau, going door to door, writing it down on a piece of paper.
And Mary, I want to just mention one tidbit of information about the census. Every 72 years, so the 1950 data has just been released, I believe. And so anyone can go onto the research that I think on ancestry.com. So after 72 years, we will release that information for genealogy purposes. And so it's fun to do. I did the same thing with my grandmother in Oklahoma. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
All right. Well,
Well, Dustin, thank you very much. I don't know if you could see the comment there, but there's one of our viewers saying we'll fill ours out today. So I'm glad to see that. Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you for joining us. We'll see you later, and we'll play that video in the end here. Well, Mary, like I said, it took me a matter of seconds to fill out my census. It's pretty simple to do. I'm not sure what your process was, but literally I went online and I filled it out for all 3 of us in the household.
Oh yeah, I mean, living alone, mine was even simpler. It was yes, yes, no, 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 no. I live alone. I'm here. There's no one over 18. There's no one, in the house. But like I mentioned to Dustin, when we started doing the research, it was just fascinating. How much information they gathered, how well their handwriting was, and the form was small as far as handwriting. And we even found, I think, at one point that my grandfather had gone to Hawaii with another lady, but she didn't return.
Oh boy, Mary, you're getting a little family drama here. Good thing we're talking about grandparents of yours and so forth.
Exactly. So I think the census has a lot more fun things to do, and it does track us and give us financial information and geographical and whatever. But on the other side, it still provides a place to find family members and whatever, and enjoy it, and the dedication of the people. I mean, this lady has been up here twice walking up and down this hill, putting little packets on doors.
Good. Wow, good for her. I remember growing up in Newark, New York, and we've talked about New York and the Finger Lakes and so forth, where I grew up. And I remember Mrs. Moyo. She was our cafeteria lunch lady, and she lived down the street. And during the summertime, she did this for the school district. But I remember specifically when the census was going around, she went door to door, knocking on everybody's door, handing out the forms and you fill out and so forth. Yeah, I still remember Mrs. Moyo. She was my lunch lady in what is it, Kelly School, from 4th grade to 6th grade.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's all about relationships, right?
The gentleman that I ran into at Madison School, he was just kind of standing there, and he had some forms, and he was saying, did any of you, do you live here? And he was explaining about how the Census Bureau operated and how to be an employee, and how he had really enjoyed, having that extra income, by doing that. And he was paid quite well. And he felt safe in his neighborhoods and had really good guidelines. But it was kind of interesting that he was so proactive about finding other people that would be interested and passing out forms and phone numbers and whatever. So there's definitely a dedication to that organization that they've put out there.
Oh, definitely. People feel like they're doing their civic duty when they work for them and so forth. I can see that definitely. But I want to talk about some upcoming episodes, Mary. We get, since we hit the big time, we've got some fun things planned. As you know, we've got our friend Bianca coming on Thursday to talk to us. And I'll share with you a little bit more tidbits off here about what we're going to discuss, but it's going to be pretty awesome. And then we've got a local person from, she works with our school district. She works with all three of the school districts out here, actually, Kelly McQuinn. And she did a really awesome musical about NASA and science. And she does that with middle school kids and elementary kids to get them learning and so forth. So she's going to talk about some of the new things she has coming up and how she's adjusted to COVID and how she's related, completely changed her game. And she said she's got some cool toys that she's going to check out with us. Like she's bought some new video equipment. So we'll
That would
have
be
fun
fun.
with that. Yeah, definitely. And then I've been lining up different teachers for the month of August where they're going to come on, and you'll appreciate this because you got Maddie, your granddaughter, but I've got teachers that are going to come on and share how they're going to teach. What's a sample lesson? What's attendance look like? What's this look like? They're just going to come on, and we partnered with Desert Sands Educational Services, and we're going to have their director of educational services at Mike Kink come on, and then we're going to have some teachers come on and just share. One of the people I get to hike with, her name is Becky, and she's a teacher at Lincoln, and I believe that she's a 4th or 5th grade teacher. I'll find out before she comes on. But their whole 4th or 5th grade team is working together this summer to prepare their online lessons. And it is pretty fascinating what our teachers are doing right now to prepare for distance learning. So, like I said, I've heard from people that they want to know about this, so we're going to make sure to give them that information.
Yeah, because I think it's changing every time you listen to the news media. It kind of gets confusing because you got different districts and different states and cities and counties, and to make sure that it's information that pertains to our area. I think it's important.
Yeah. Exactly. And like in part of how we started off this morning where we went with the most recent tweets, I think I might start, I'll continue to do that so we can just go over that information because communication is key during this. And I want to mention to the people that are watching and the people that will watch us in the future, I put my email address in the comments there. As I said, my title is the Director of Community Engagement. I'm also the Director of the Foundation. But because of that, please community engage me. Tell me what you want to see on this format. So Chef Mary and I can present information. I can present information that you guys want to see and that you want to know about it. And then I also have another announcement, Mary. This is pretty exciting. So last year we had the superintendent came up with the recognition program, the DSUSD IT program. We've been talking about the incredible talented staff and so forth. And to give people a little bit of an idea, 850 of our employees were nominated for having incredible talent last year. And that's from community members, that's from students, that's from colleagues, that's from their peers. And it's just pretty awesome to see that. And I get to read all those. I get to read all those comments. It's pretty remarkable. And then out of the monthly submissions, so every month you can nominate, and every month we're having anywhere from 75 to 150 nominees.
Oh, wow.
Our community partners gave me gift cards. And last year, we would be able to select up to 2 of those nominees per month, and we gave them you'll laugh at this, a $49 gift card. Do you know why it's $49, Mary? Since it's in essence coming from the employer. If we go to 50, then I have to give them an extra tax form. So if we keep it at $49, okay, we don't have to worry about that. So it's kind of fun. I will say that in March, we issued our last certificates because in April, May, and June, unfortunately, some of the restaurants we had, with everything going on, they're not as flourishing as much, and we just haven't been able to issue those yet. And we're going to do that, the gift cards to those winners. But we secured a sponsor for all of Incredible Talent, the program for next year, for this upcoming school year. And we'll share later next week who that is. And I think people are just going to love it.
Oh, awesome.
It is really, really special. Yeah, we've got some great things going on. The community has seen what we're doing. And just some fantastic things going on. So what I have to do here, Mary, is I'm going to play this video. It's about 6 minutes.
Okay.
And then you and I will be off screen. And then I'll bring us back on to kind of wrap it up, if that's okay by you, or if you want, I'll kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That'll give me, because I've got people in the neighborhood sawing away. So,
you know what, Mary, I'll just catch up with you afterwards. I'll kind of wrap up. I'll just catch up with you afterwards. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great seeing you, Mary, and I'll catch up with you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So as I was sharing, we're going to go ahead and play this video that the U.S. Census gave us. Great information from Alejandra and Dustin earlier. Sorry about the sound quality there. We're at the mercy of technology here. I'm working from home. I think you heard from Dustin. He was working from his cell phone from his home office. Alejandra the same. But let me go ahead. I'm going to play this video here from the U.S. Census about everything that's going on with them.
If you're ready to begin, go to my2020census.gov now. The online questionnaire is available in English and 12 non-English languages. To select a language, click on the globe icon and select the name of the language, or select the name of the language at the bottom of any screen. Don't worry if you are looking for a language that is not listed. This video will show a step-by-step demonstration. Keep watching. You will need to complete the 2020 census in one session. If you leave, you will have to start over. To begin, choose Start Questionnaire. First, enter your 12-digit Census ID. Your Census ID is on the materials that we mailed to your address or left at your door. If you do not have a Census ID, select the link below the Login button and answer some additional questions about your address. You will still be able to respond. Then, confirm that you are completing the 2020 Census questionnaire for the address shown. Select Yes or No. If you will be staying at this address on April 1st, choose Yes. Otherwise, choose No. The Next button takes you forward, and the Previous button takes you back. Do not use the forward or back buttons on your browser, or else you may need to start over. Next, enter your name and telephone number. Enter your full name in English letters. Sometimes a message may appear on the screen that asks you to check your response or enter additional information. Review what you entered before selecting the Next button. Enter the number of people, including yourself, who will be living or staying at this address on April 1st, 2020. Click on the underlined blue links for help with the questions. Make sure that you count people where they usually live and sleep. If someone does not have a usual residence, count them where they will be staying on April 1st. Include babies and children of all ages, close or extended family members, people who are not related to you, and people staying here without a permanent place to live. Do not include anyone who lives away from this address most of the year, such as college students, armed forces personnel, people in a nursing home, mental hospital, jail, prison, detention center, etc., or people visiting who usually live and sleep somewhere else. These people will be counted in other ways. Then, list the name of each person living or staying at this address. To add more people, select the button labeled Add Another Person. We do not want to miss any people staying at this address on April 1st. If you forgot to include anyone who stays here, choose Yes and enter those names. Otherwise, choose No. Now you're ready for the next two questions about the home at this address. On April 1st, will the house, apartment, or mobile home at this address be owned by you or someone in this household with a mortgage or loan, including home equity loans, owned by you or someone in this household free and clear without a mortgage or loan, rented, or occupied without payment of rent? Then, select the names of the owners or renters of this house, apartment, or mobile home. Next, we ask some questions about each person you listed earlier. First, we ask if the person is male or female. We also ask you to enter the month, day, and year this person was born. Make sure that the age that appears is correct as of April 1st, 2020. Next, we ask about Hispanic origin and race. Please answer both this and the next question. Select whether this person is not of Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin, Mexican, Mexican-American, or Chicano, Puerto Rican, Cuban, or another Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin. If you selected the last response, enter more details in the box below. Next, we ask about race. Select one or more checkboxes. white, black or African American, American Indian or Alaska Native, Chinese, Filipino, Asian Indian, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, other Asian, Native Hawaiian, Samoan, Chamorro, other Pacific Islander, or some other race. Enter detailed origins in the boxes that look like this. Additional people will also see this question. How is this person related to the reference person? Select opposite sex husband, wife, or spouse, opposite sex unmarried partner, same sex husband, wife, or spouse, same sex unmarried partner, biological son or daughter, adopted son or daughter, stepson or stepdaughter, brother or sister, father or mother, grandchild, parent-in-law, son-in-law or daughter-in-law, other relative, roommate or housemate, foster child, or other non-relative. We're almost finished. Some people live or stay in more than one place, and we need to make sure everyone is only counted once. Select the name of anyone who usually lives or stays somewhere else. Otherwise, choose none of the above. If a person does usually live or stay somewhere else, select the reason why from the following: to be with a parent, grandparent, or other person, to attend college, for a military assignment, to be closer to a job or business, in a nursing home or group home, in a jail or prison, at a seasonal or second residence, or for another reason. Great job. You are now ready to send your responses. Select Submit Questionnaire to complete the 2020 census. You will see a confirmation page with your address and today's date. That's it. You have completed the 2020 census online. Thank you. You may now close the web browser. To share this video or similar videos in other languages, please visit 2020census.gov/languages.
Well, there you have the 2020 census information video. But as I shared, we have an upcoming schedule. We got Bianca Ray on Thursday. We hope to see you then. Thank you for putting in the topics there, Amy. I will definitely get some PE teachers on here to talk about some at-home activities that we're doing and so forth. One of the things I'm actually doing myself for activities, I'm hiking every morning. I'm getting up, around 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, make sure I get out there. And actually, one of the people that I'm hiking with is Joanne Prawl, the dance teacher over at La Quinta High School. And she's actually shared a bunch of activities and so forth, how she's going to be teaching dance via Zoom in the upcoming school year to start it off. But no, keep them coming. Please feel free to email me. Like I said, Sean Webb, Sean.webb@desertsands.us. It's in the comments there. Feel free to reach out. We'll see you on Thursday. I'll also be out and about tomorrow with meal distributions with any important information that comes up. If not, we're just going to highlight the meal distribution. But we'll see you later. Have a good one. Thanks.